listening to the Chase Merrill podcast.
All right, how's it going, everybody? This is my first Q&A episode. And if I'm being honest, I am most nervous about doing this than I have been with any other of my podcasts. Simply because you can hide behind letting other people talk when you're doing an interview-based podcast. So this is my first one where you guys just get to listen to me. And I listen to all my episodes. So when they're posted that Monday, I listen to them. And so if somebody was watching me, they'd be like, "Oh, you're listening to your own podcast." I'm listening to it because I want to get good at it. I want to improve. And my biggest gripe with the podcast now, with me personally, is how much just word vomit I do. So outside of this podcast, I'm very concise. I'm very direct with my speech. And when I go back and I listen to these podcasts, I realize how much I'm padding my words, padding my sentences, padding my points, just so I can come off. When you do this podcast, if you're in your head about listening, about people that are listening, you don't want to upset anybody. You don't want to, say something the wrong way. And I'm really trying just to be concise, be myself, just speak the way I am, let my points come through. And if people, don't like that or maybe have misinterpreted it, that's on them. They can come to me. So I'm going to really just try to be concise, direct during this podcast. So this is a Q&A podcast. I asked for questions on my Instagram. I got those questions. I screenshotted all of the different questions, and then I just threw those into ChatGPT, and I said, randomize these and give me the list of questions back in whatever order. And I'm just going to go through them. I haven't really looked at them. I also said, ChatGPT, throw any questions that you think would be interesting as well along this theme in there. So I'm not 100% sure what's on there. So we're just going to dive into them one at a time, and hopefully I won't sound too bad. But here we go. First question is, I see you bought a Tesla. I've been thinking about getting one. Do you like it? Yeah, I got my Tesla at the end of October. And funny enough, I just got my license plate for it. Colorado has been a mess. I had to go through like 5 different temp tags. So I finally got my plates, and I mean, it's an awesome car. It's perfect for the amount of driving that I do. And what I do, I've got an at-home charger. So it charges and I leave every day at 80%. That's what I charge it up to for battery health. And it's phenomenal. If you're driving long distances or if it's your only car, I probably wouldn't get one. My wife has, a gas car. So if we go anywhere long, we'll take that. But it's been awesome. I will say, I wish I didn't buy it. I wish I still had the old Honda HRV 2019. That car was paid off. It had no payments, and it was great. And I realized, like, when I bought the Tesla, I've never had like a nice car. Whether or not you want to classify a Tesla as a nice car, whatever you want to do there, it is cool. I do like all the gadgets it has and the self-driving. But I realized, like, my life is no different with or without it. I would have been fine with my HRV. So I wish I didn't buy it. I'm glad I did, because now I can reflect on purchases that I make going forward that are like, I need to really reflect to make sure I'm buying them for the right reasons, not for the public appeal. Like, you want to look like you, at least I did. I realized after I bought it, it's like, oh, a lot of this was for the fact like, oh, I wanted to have my first nice car. And I realized it doesn't make my life any different. I wish I didn't buy it. But if you have the money, if you actually want to pull through it, it's been an amazing car. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, great car. What is something you've been thinking about recently? I have been thinking about the idea. I've been thinking about the idea that my beliefs, that my opinions, that my thoughts don't have like a firm foundation. I feel like they're standing on a house of cards. Like, everything that I believe comes from just like listening to other people's opinions, and I internalize those. And I realized, or I've been thinking about the fact that maybe I don't have such a firm foundation on which I base my principles and my ideas on. And I was actually journeying about that the other day. Is like, I feel like my my ideas are just based on a house of cards, and my beliefs are based on a house of cards. And if you don't have that firm foundation on which to direct your choices, like you base them off of a certain thing, then you kind of act within your own self-interest because you don't really know what is guiding you. And so I've been trying to figure out what it is I want to build my beliefs and my ideology on. And I've been reading, ironically, I have this right here. I've been reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations a lot again, every single morning, because I think they're really profound, and I think they're a good thing in which you can build those beliefs on. So I've just been thinking about that. Like, I want to have a firm foundation that is solid, that I can build everything else on. So like, I want to be able to change my opinions based on new information, but I want those core set principles to be solid. And I think for me, I want to read a lot, I want to learn a lot more, but I think building that on these meditations has been pretty good so far. What is your favorite and least favorite part of Ironman training? Favorite part, I enjoy getting aerobically fitter, and I enjoy the experience of enjoying endurance. I've always been a strength and a speed-based athlete, so strong, explosive lifts, sprinting, things like that. And I've always shied away from not and enjoyed those long endurance-based events, whether that be running or biking or whatever that is. And as over the past 6 months that I've really started to get into running and then into Ironman training, I've really started to enjoy that. Like, I'm enjoying the longer runs. I'm not so much enjoying the long biking pieces, but that's because I'm doing them inside on a trainer. So I'm excited. My brother's coming up next weekend for a kind of like a mock training camp. We'll just train together, and we're going to take the bikes out, and I'm going to get more comfortable there. So I'm excited for that. But my least favorite part so far has just been, it's been lonely. It's been like, when we moved to Denver, obviously I didn't know anybody out here. And then I started coaching at a gym, and I started going to a CrossFit gym, and I would meet people and I'd have fun. And that was a highlight of my day that I've started to realize. And now, like, I enjoy the training itself and I'm enjoying getting fitter, but I'm just like, I miss friends. I miss hanging out with people. I miss going and joking around. So ideally, I'd find a training group for this Ironman training, and then it'd be great. So just being kind of alone on the bike and on those sessions has not been my favorite. Hopefully I can find some more people soon. What is one good thing everyone should be eating? Hmm. I mean, nutrition and diet is so individual, so personal. It's based off of whether or not you think it's morally right or ethically right to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever camp, whether you think the right way to be eating is carnivore or vegetarian or whatever that is, or omnivore, a mix of all. So it's hard to say. I think people should be eating. It's so tough. I personally, I think people should be eating quality grass-fed red meats or animal-based products and vegetables. That's kind of where I'm falling into, the more the omnivore based. I don't think red meat should be villainized the way it is, but I don't think necessarily carnivore is necessary as well. So I think if you can just have a balanced diet, avoiding the processed foods for the most part, and then just mixing in those quality animal products as well as those quality vegetables, I think that's going to really be your sweet spot. How has your training changed since getting married? Hasn't changed. I mean, it changed not because I got married, but before I was getting married, I was, doing full-time CrossFit training. I was training, 2 sessions a day, at least multiple hours a day. And then I got married and I didn't want to do that anymore. Took a break. I guess my wife, being a runner, being an endurance-based athlete, has really pushed me to get into that so I can run with her. And since I've started that Ironman training, we've been doing long runs together for the first time, and that's been really enjoyable. So I think she likes that. I like that. So I guess it would just be more endurance-based training, but that's not because we got married. Uh, so I not too much has changed then. What's more important, consistency or intensity in training? Consistency for sure is more important. You're going to want to be able to do training for a really long time, and you're going to want to be consistent to get those benefits. However, intensity is also there. I mean, Greg Glassman, founder of the CrossFit ideology, is like intensity over volume. So if you can bring that intensity in, that's fantastic. But you want to pair it with consistency. So you don't need to be going into the gym and full sending, assault bike sprints or max effort lifting every single day if if it reduces your ability to be consistent. So if I had to choose one, I'd say, consistency in the gym with about 20% intensity. So if you can have those 1 or 2 intense sessions, whether that be getting up into zone 5 for sprints or things like that to help improve your VO2 max, or getting into those really heavy lifts, that's going to be ideal. But consistency is going to be what moves the needle over the long run. How should someone go about an athletic goal they set themselves? It's tough. I think you got to weigh what is the goal of the goal. So, if you're just trying to get, more healthy, or if it's just, long term, like, hey, I want to run more or something like that, where it's a little bit less serious versus like, okay, I want to train for this Ironman in 7 months and I want to go, sub 10 hours, whatever that looks like. There's a little bit more intensity there. So you got to figure out, like, is it a time bound goal that is like specific that you really want to do well, or is it a more like a general change to your habits? If it's a general change to your habits, the goal there again is consistency, and it needs to be a little bit more realistic and easy to attain. So if you never run and you can run like a 15-minute mile and then you gas and you're like, oh, I want to run every single day for the next year, that's not really realistic. Like, there's going to be the days where you don't feel like it, when it's raining, when it's snowing, and you're not going to get out. And that's going to put you in a rut, and you're going to feel like your goal failed. So if your goal is to run more, make it as easy as possible initially. So don't set like, oh, I need to run and try to PR my mile every day. No, just go out easy, maybe be like, okay, I'm just going to push comes to shove 200 meters. If that's all I can do that day, that's fine. And you need to develop the habit of running and the ideology change that you are a runner. So you need to change the way you think of yourself and the way you think of the goal. And to do that is to make it as easy as possible. And eventually that's going to naturally build on itself. If it's a time bound, more specific goal, kind of like Ironman training, a easy way to do that is find accountability partners. So people that are going to train with you or do it with you. I'm training for this Ironman. All my siblings are doing it. So if I don't want to do a session, I'm just like, they're doing it and I don't want them to beat me. So having that time bound and that accountability partner is huge. But also, again, not going overboard with it. Like, if you are a athlete competing in something that is your job, or you want it to be your job, you need to bring a little bit more intensity and a little bit more structure and discipline to it. If you're just wanting to, do it and have fun with it and do well, I think it's important to remember, like, you want to do it for fun and you want to be able to do it again and you want to be able to enjoy it. So have that intensity, but also balance that with the fact like, hey, if I really don't want to do this and every day I'm coming out and I'm like forcing myself to do it, maybe back off for a little bit until you get that enjoyment back. So I think it's weighing those two types of goals and then just applying that structure like, hey, I want to be able to enjoy this in the long term because if I do, I'm going to be more willing to do it. Uh, Are recovery tools like saunas, cold plunges, and massage guns truly effective? Yes and no. They're going to move the needle, but they don't move the needle as much as I feel people give them credit for. Nutrition, sleep, those are going to be your biggest things. Getting the adequate amount of sleep, like if that could be bottled and pilled and sold, it would be the most valuable drug out there, sleep. So really prioritizing your sleep and then the food that you're eating, make sure you're getting enough food, make sure you're getting the right types of food. I mean, what you eat literally makes up your body. So prioritizing that. But if you're doing everything else right and you really want to move the needle, that last little bit, those things do add up. I have a sauna that's coming. I can't wait for it to get here. And I'm going to be in that multiple times a day because I know that does help with my sleep. It helps with my recovery. It has a decrease in all-cause mortality. Cold plunges as well. I mean, there's a time to do them. The science there is not as robust as it is for saunas. I think it's pretty irrefutable the benefit of saunas. Cold plunges, some people say yeah, some people say no. But timing it, like if you're doing a cold plunge after your training, it's actually going to have a negative effect on hypertrophy, just because it helps reduce that inflammation, and you actually want that after training. And then massage guns, I mean, those are the bottom of the list for me. Like you can stretch, you can do what you need to do. Massage guns really help by getting blood flow to the area. So if you're massage gunning your VMO, your quad, something like that, it's helping bring blood to the area, and blood is going to help recover it, help reduce soreness, help, refresh it. But you can do that by going on a light walk or something like that. How can someone over 40 train differently to stay strong and avoid injury? Yeah, absolutely. The name of the game as you get older is avoiding injury and consistency. It's harder to come back. It really sets you back. So that's why when you're young, early 20s, 30s, you want to pack on and build that muscle because A, it's a lot easier and it's easier to retain and maintain into your later years. So you want to kind of front load your muscle gain. And then once you get older, the goal is just going in, doing something enjoyable, moving weights that, yes, are heavy, but you don't need to be going extremely heavy. You don't need to put yourself at risk of injury anymore. Like, yes, still bring that intensity, but you can bring intensity through more reps, through less rest time, through time under tension. So, for example, if I'm back squatting, let's say 225, yes, it'll be more difficult to squat 315, but it'll also be more difficult if I'm doing 225 for 5 to do 225 for 7 reps. That's also adding intensity. Or to do 225 for 4 reps, but add a 3-second negative and then a 3-second, positive as well. Like that's time under tension. Or doing 3 sets of 5 with less rest. There are multiple ways to add intensity without necessarily adding load, and load tends to be adding risk to some degree because your form and your technique starts to break down, and that's where things get dicey. So make sure you're maintaining good technique and look at different ways to add that intensity through time under tension, through reducing rest, through improving reps, stuff like that. Because the goal really is to avoid injury. So navigate and really put that focus on technique and staying clean, staying tight there. Excuse me, I had to go get a drink. See, this is what I'm talking about. A lot more talking. Something I need to get better at here. So I'm excited to be doing this. Next question. What role does mobility and flexibility play in overall fitness? Absolutely. Fitness, I mean, it depends on how you define it. A lot of people think fitness is, just the ability to have good aerobic capacity or the ability to just move weights. I like CrossFit's definition. It's your ability to do all of it: go long, go fast, go heavy, do gymnastics. Um, but mobility and flexibility are going to be injury prevention, injury reduction. Your ability to be mobile allows your body to be in positions that maybe would hurt itself if it didn't have that innate mobility. And so by improving that, you're going to reduce your body's, likelihood of getting hurt, but you're also going to increase your ability to recover because you are going to be doing that stretching. You are going to be doing that mobility, which does help with your ability to recover. So I think mobility and flexibility play a pretty big key in overall fitness, especially as you navigate into your later years. If the name of the game is longevity, we want to be doing this for as long as possible. We want to be doing this forever. I don't want to be an 80-year-old man who's sitting on the couch and has a hard time getting and moving around. I want to be mobile. I want to be active late into my life. And so mobility and flexibility coupled with lean skeletal muscle, as well as aerobic capacity, that's going to be the key for doing this for a very, very, very long time. Is there such thing as too much exercise? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can absolutely overdo it. Leads to burnout, leads to injury. If you're not taking rest days, you're not doing it right. If you're in the gym, if you're building muscle, if you're tearing yourself down, which is what lifting weights does, you're creating these micro tears, you're tearing yourself down. And when you actually take the rest days, that's when you're actually gaining the muscle. So if you're doing too much, it can lead to injury. Your body gets fatigued. You start getting into these compromised positions. So yes, absolutely. Rest days are important. They let you recover, and that's when you actually build your muscle. What are the top 3 daily habits that contribute most to long-term health? Sleep, exercise, nutrition. Not necessarily in that order. I know that's super broad, but again, getting the appropriate amount of sleep for you. For females, that is more than males. But finding that key spot. I mean, for me, it's 8 hours of actual sleep. So if you're in bed for 8 hours, even if you go lights out, right asleep right when your head hits the pillow, you're not going to actually be getting 8 hours of sleep. Like, you have those micro disturbances where you wake up, things like that, and it's actually less. So for me, it's getting around 7:45 to 8:15 hours of actually sleeping. So that's usually about 9 to 9.5 hours in bed. And then exercise. Exercise is obviously super important. That's going to be how you're going to improve your VO2 and your aerobic capacity, and then add on that muscle mass that we were talking about. Also, if you don't get sleep, Dr. Rhonda Patrick was talking about recently how the benefits of exercise can actually offset to some degree the negative effects of not getting enough sleep. So ideally, you're doing both, but if you can't get enough sleep, being able to get into the gym for at least a little bit and get your heart rate up and get moving is going to be huge. However, you're not going to get as much effect from that exercise as you would if you got the appropriate amount of sleep. And then obviously nutrition. You can't outtrain a bad diet. It's it's very easy to overeat your caloric expenditure and eat in a caloric surplus and gain weight. That's very easy. So make sure you're eating the right things that support your body in the right way. Make sure you're getting enough protein, enough good, healthy omega-3s, fats, and then the appropriate carbs, whether or not whatever camp you want to be in there, whether you're pro carb or anti carb, whatever that looks like. Again, I'm in the camp that it's just a macronutrient. It's just a fuel point. Yes, some people may react a little bit differently to higher fat diets and lower carbs and vice versa, but I don't think either should be demonized. There's appropriate time and place for all of it. Is fasting really beneficial for longevity, or is it overhyped? Yeah, super interesting. People are going back and forth. Again, bring up Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She used to be very pro fasting, and now she's kind of taking a stance, step back. Like when you do fast, people say, I feel a lot more alert. Yeah, you're putting your body in a fight or flight place. It is going to be alert. It's going to be awake because cortisol is going up because it doesn't have any food. And if you're in that for too long, it will have negative effects. It might be good. Let's say you have a hard time maintaining your food drive and you overeat by intermittent fasting, at least. And let's say you do 16 hours of fasting and then an 8-hour eating window. That might help you out by reducing your overall calories because you're just eating in a certain window and you don't eat as much. So that could be long-term beneficial by help maintaining your weight. For me, I maybe will do once every year, a 24 to 72 hour fast, just for that reset, kind of that mental, like I want to do something tough. I want to do something hard. I think you can live a very long, healthy life if you don't fast. But also I think there may be a time and a place for that. I don't think you should focus on that as like, hey, this is going to move my needle either way too much. It's just using it to maintain your a healthy body weight, or using it to maintain like a goal, or kind of doing something mentally tough. I think that's a good thing. I think there's a time and place for that as well. But I think long term, I don't think you need to be going on these super long fasts and saying these are going to be what leads me to a healthy lifestyle for long term. What does the latest science say about sleep and its effect on lifespan? Yeah. Again, I think sleep is the most important. For me, if I don't get good sleep, my day is darker. My outlook is bleaker. I'm less kind. I'm less generous. I'm less optimistic about my future. Everything feels a little bit more tough. And even, if you do get less sleep, you have an increase in your hunger hormones like ghrelin, and you tend to overeat. If you get less sleep, your blood pressure goes up. If you get less sleep, your immunity goes down. You're more likely to succumb to sickness. Sleep is the most important thing. And like, if you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, like Dr. Matthew Walker talks about, it's not an effective tool for species. Like, all species sleep. It's not effective tool. Evolution, like, it would be selected out by evolution if it didn't have a vital role, because you're not gaining food, you're not reproducing, you're not doing those things that have the biological imperative and incentive to do. And so the fact that it's still there leads to a clear standpoint that it is very important and we actually do need it. So again, I'm all about prioritizing sleep. How much does stress really impact our health, and how can we mitigate it? Yeah, stress is huge. Controlling and maintaining, a lower stress level is going to improve our quality of life. It's going to improve our lifespan. It's going to just, you don't want to walk around being stressed all the time. Like, you don't want your cortisol to be up that high all the time. You want to be able to go up and down through those cortisol levels as to have a good quality of life. As for ways to mitigate it, breath work, exercise, going for walks, journaling, these are all things that can help mitigate stress. Finding what, a lot of times we don't actually know what that stress point is. Like, we just have that anxiety. For me, journaling and actually putting pen to paper and like figuring out what it is huge, because once you name it, you can address it and it doesn't really have as much power over you. So I think stress management is huge, but it's also not like you don't want a completely stress-free life. Like exercise is stress, fasting is stress, that those put stress on your body, and you need hardship, you need stress to have that adaptation, that positive adaptation and change, but you don't want to overdo it. So having intentional and applied stress is good, and then the ability to find out and manage when stress is, like life stress is just coming at you, and being able to mitigate that and manage that is also huge. What is the biggest health myth people still believe today? I don't know the biggest. I mean, nutritionally, people are still kind of scared of electrolytes. Like they're scared of salt. They're scared of fats. They've historically been demonized, things like that. I think everything in moderation. I think, like sodium, electrolytes, these are important things, especially if you're sweating a lot, if you're doing intense exercise. Like you need that sodium and that electrolyte to actually hydrate your cell, and to it plays a vital role in your body systems. And so there is a time and place for salt, for sodium. As for just like the biggest health myths, I'm not sure. I don't try to. I mean, the current climate for nutrition and for health is so out there. Like you can go on every single side. I've seen, raw fruitarians who are like only eating fruit, and then I see people in carnivore who are only eating meat, and then I see vegetarians, and it's just so hard to know, because you can find doctors and you can find the science on any topic. So I think really just trying to dial in and focus on what helps and benefits you is big. I know that didn't really answer the question, but it is what it is. What's a recent struggle you've gone through, and what did you learn? Recent struggle. Yeah, I struggle with anxiety, and but it comes from a place of like, there was this quote that I heard a while back, and I think I'm going to butcher it, but it kind of goes like, unfocused ambition leads to anxiety. Focused ambition leads to results. And so if you don't have a goal, if you don't know what your purpose, or if you're not acting or putting your intention toward anything, but you have ambition, you're like, oh, I want to do something, it just leads to anxiety. You're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And if you can really try to find and put a focus, and you can put a goal, and then you can channel your ambition towards that, you really start to get the results, and you feel a lot more relaxed. You're like, okay, I'm actually making progress towards something. And so for me, it's just like managing that anxiety, because I mean, I get it all the time, like every day, like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And so you just like focus it, and you can't release, you can't relax, and you just try to focus it to anything, cleaning the house, whatever that is. And you're not actually moving the needle towards anything, but you're just feeling like you're doing that work. And so for me, it's managing that anxiety and applying it towards something. And that's like a daily, like reset, refocus, and just like put my, like manage that anxiety, and being able to name it. It's like, okay, you have the ambition, you just don't know where to put it. You have it. I do now. Like I have goals that I'm trying to maintain, like with this podcast, and I can focus and I can work towards that goal. And that has been huge for me. What daily or weekly ritual keeps you centered and focused? Daily ritual has been like, I have a like pretty set morning routine, in terms like I get up, the first thing I do is I drink water, I take my fish oil, I take my creatine, I take my vitamin D3, um, I take a little bit of electrolytes, and I start to read. That kind of helps me set my day, set my intention. each day. Again, I've been reading the meditations, and I've been trying to, the way I've been going through this is I will, so it's got like books, like chapters, quote unquote. So I'll for a week, I'll read all of book 2, and I'll just reread that once every day. It's about 5 or 6 pages, and then I'll go back through and I'll read it again. So that's been kind of good for me. It helps me kind of set clarity for the day. What is one belief that you held strongly 5 years ago that you've since changed your mind about? Yes. This for me has been the mindset or belief that it's all or nothing. You have to do, like, if you're going to do it, you have to do 100% of your attention. You have to do it with the intent to be the best. That's how I used to apply my mindset to everything. And it's still something I struggle with. Even like dumb stuff. Like I used to play PlayStation, and even when I was training for CrossFit, I couldn't have a PlayStation because I couldn't just play for fun. I had to be the best. So I'd play like battle royale games like Apex Legends, and I would find myself just like in the trainer, like aim training or things like that, because I can't just play. I have to play to be the best. And so then that would draw attention from my training. And that just kind of mindset really didn't allow me to enjoy anything for the sake of enjoyment. I was always focusing on improving and trying to be the best and bring a lot of intention to it. And so now I'm really trying to focus on keeping that mindset for some things, but also being able to enjoy things for the sake of just enjoying them and not having to be the best. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Yeah, I think I have the unfortunate position of not having a lot of like life experiences outside of like I don't have a lot of fun life experiences in my youth, like getting in trouble or doing things, going out with friends, going to parties. And I really wish I did do that, because I think that would shape a lot of how I see the world now. I was so strict and rigid and like just going home, getting to bed early, getting up, going to the gym, training for the sports that I was doing. And I appreciated it and I had fun with it. But I also think it would have been good to get out with friends a lot more, go do dumb stuff, go make mistakes, because I don't really have any stories like that. So for me, I think I would tell my younger self, like, it doesn't matter as much as you think it does, and having fun and living life and going to do these experiences is just as, if not more important, than just being focused on that goal. Because I think it shapes you and it allows you to have a more robust and complete view at life itself. And so for me, like, I'm really trying to get those experiences now. I'm doing a ton of different things. I'm trying to experience and put myself out there, find friends that I wouldn't normally have, just because I feel like I've missed out on a lot. So yeah, I tell my younger self to go do more, go have more fun. Yes, sleep is important, but so is living life, especially at that age. Yes, training is important, but so is living life. And so just go make mistakes, go be smart, but go have fun. Okay. What's the difference between motivation and momentum, and how can we build both? Interesting question. Motivation is when we watch that video or when we have that new idea in our mind and you think about completing it and you start to get that dopamine hit, or when listen to that song and you get hyped up and something's new and exciting and you go and you do it, and then each day goes down a little bit and then you find yourself not being as excited and not having as much dopamine to do it, and it starts to fade a little bit, and then you're stuck with your discipline. So, and then momentum goes the other way. So you don't have as much momentum. You start something new and you're like, oh, I did it that one day. Cool. And then you do it the second day and you're like, okay, I've got started to get my chain a little bit. And then that third, and then all of a sudden you're 30 days, consecutive days in and making that right choice. And you don't want to break the streak. You want to keep going, and it builds on itself. So the difference, how can we build both? I don't think you build motivation. I don't think it's important. I think that just comes from having these new ideas and doing something exciting and thinking about doing something exciting. And, that unfortunately, a lot of that comes from a social reception as well. Like, oh, how are my friends? How are my family? How am I going to be perceived by completing this? That is motivation. I don't think you need to worry about it as much, because the reality is it comes and goes. Momentum, I think, is super huge to build. And I think if you can recognize the value of momentum and you can apply it to different things really start to skyrocket. And I think the ability to build momentum is one tool that I use. Is I have like a physical calendar, and I assign tasks to like X's. So I'll have like a calendar for the month, and I'll be like, hey, every time I do this goal, I'm going to put an X in that day. And you start to build this chain. So whether that be running, you go out, whatever distance that is, it's like, I'm just going to run. And you put a X there every day you run. And your goal is not to break that chain. And that's momentum. So let's say you have, 3 X's. It's not as big a deal. You're like, if I miss a day, I'll start over. But if you've got 80 X's on that calendar, 80 consecutive days, the last thing you want to do is not put an X on that calendar, because then you break the chain. And so the ability to build that momentum, I think for me, is visual. I have those calendars up on our fridge. Like, I printed out and laminated a sheet and I put it up on the fridge, and then I put an X on that calendar, and I visually see it each day, and I don't want to break the chain. How do you stay grounded and centered with all the noise and pressure of modern life? Yeah. For me, I mean, internally, I've just been doing a lot of reflecting. Like, I am on social media, I am on those things, but I wish I wasn't. Like, my goal is not to be on it. Because I just hate, I don't enjoy it. I want to be able to just live my life and do things that I enjoy in the peace of my own closed circle, which is like my wife and friends and family. So, how do I stay grounded? I mean, just recognizing that social media is just a highlight reel. It's not something that it actually matters, and just enjoying the actual opportunities and the actual small things of each day. They allow me to find like a lot more pleasure in my life there. Next question. A lot of questions here. Why is self-sabotage so common, and how can we overcome it? I gotta get better at talking this long. My throat is getting super dry. Sorry, you guys are hearing me drink water. Why is self-sabotage so common, and how can we overcome it? It's easier to tell yourself that you didn't accomplish your goals because you didn't actually put 100% of your full effort than it is to put 100% of your full effort into it and not accomplish your goals. So I that's why it's so common. I'm guilty of it all the time. Particularly back when I was training sport, I put so much emphasis on winning, and like, if I didn't win, then I was a failure. That I would, find ways to cheat myself or not really give full effort, because I'd be like, well, I could have. And that's the ego. That's that self sabotage where you're not actually giving enough. And I think overcoming that is just, again, it takes effort, it takes time, but really just not putting value in the outcome, but value in the actual doing of the actions, the actual task itself is huge, because then you are a winner because you're showing up and because you're doing it. And by putting the value there, you have control over the effort that you put in. And again, that's not a flip that you can easily switch. It takes conscious self-talk. It takes time to change. It takes effort to change. And for me, I really just apply that to something that I'm totally not good at. So like I started running, and for me, I don't think, or this Ironman, I don't think I'm going to ever be a world champion Ironman athlete, and I don't necessarily want to be. And so for me, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to go win. I just want to show up, and I just want to have fun, and I just want to get better at the sport. And if I can improve that on the Ironman, then I can start to apply that to other things. So I think self-sabotage is super common. And just remember, just put the focus on stuff that you can control. Okay, we'll do a couple more here. What is one book that changed the way you think and why? Atomic Habits. I think it's one of the most valuable books people can read, by James Clear. It's super easy to read, and it's super applicable. Like, it's one of the best books that I've read where it's like you can immediately apply what you've learned, and the ability to develop new good habits and then break old bad habits is huge. And he just writes in such a clear, concise way, and it's super valuable. Okay, we'll do one more. Let's see. Why do we avoid discomfort, and what does it cost us? We're evolutionarily wired to be comfortable. Like, you don't want to put yourself in a compromising and an uncomfortable position. And so we have that lizard brain in our, whenever we do something, it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you could just stop. Like, yeah, it's so uncomfortable. But unfortunately, everything good comes on the other side of discomfort. Like, it's not comfortable to go to the gym. It's not comfortable to put in long hours at work. It's not comfortable to, track your macros or to eat healthy when it's all you want is cookies. But everything good is on the other side of discomfort, excuse me. And so the ability to not give into the pleasures or the pains at certain times, like being able to have that delayed gratification, is going to be what allows you to have a valuable and a fulfilling life. Just being able to do that hardship allows you to really get truly valuable dopamine, instead of the dopamine that just comes from scrolling on Instagram or getting the like or whatever that looks like. Just put yourself out there and be a little bit more uncomfortable, because it's so valuable, and the mindset shifts that gives you is so huge. Okay. I did not answer all the questions. There was a lot. But I need to get better at talking long format, because I just smashed a lot of water and my voice is still dry. But thank you guys. It's been so much fun to do this podcast. I have had some amazing guests. I've got more amazing guests coming, and I really want to improve, and I really want to get better at the art of podcasting. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for listening all the way through. Again, if you have any tips, if you have anything you want to say, go ahead and just shoot me an Instagram message, or just reply to comments here on YouTube or on Spotify. Apple needs to step up their comment game, because that'd be cool to see. But really, just get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you guys. I'd love to get your input. Again, thank you so much. See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the Chase Merrill podcast.